Hello, welcome to Math 204, Calculus 2 at Hartford Community College. I'm Professor Chris Jones. I'm going to be the instructor for this class, and I'm hoping this video is going to give you an overview, not just about what's expected for the course, but also how to navigate through the course and also to get help if necessary. Some of the things specifically out of this video that I'm hoping to achieve with you is to become familiar with how to navigate Blackboard, be familiar with the expectations of the class and the grading scale, discussing how to access and also what MyMathLab and MATLAB are, to become familiar with how to take the examinations for the class, also to talk about how to succeed and how to get assistance for the course. The main location where the majority of the course material is housed is in Blackboard. Blackboard is a learning management system for Hartford Community College. If you've never logged into Blackboard before, it's fairly easy to navigate. I'm going to log in as if I've never done this before. But what you're going to do is you're going to start by going in Chrome, and Chrome works best as a browser, to harvardcc.blackboard.com. Once you get there, you're just going to use your same login information as your ALNet and your ALMail. And your login, and you're just going to be able to access this. Types of things that are housed within Blackboard: course information, due dates, grades, practice materials for examinations, also assignment and quiz links, MATLAB materials, and then other sorts of information that's going to be helpful for you guys for this course. I'm going to go through and walk through Blackboard with you. So for those of you that have seen Blackboard before, or you're familiar with the course content, then feel free to skip ahead a little bit, but it never hurts to see everything again. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to harvardcc.blackboard.com. Right, and it'll take you to this landing page right here. You're going to enter your username, and then you're also going to enter your password, same thing as your ALMail, and log in. When you get there, what you're going to do is you're going to select the course, in this case, Math 204, which you're working through. So when you land in the course, you're going to come to this page with the course information. And essentially, the course information gives you the broad strokes sort of thing within, or the broad strokes sort of content within this course. So for instance, the course reference number, when the course begins and ends, the deadline for withdrawing, the deadline for your 100% refund. It also contains my office hours, I call them student hours, my email address, and then also links to the different materials, to the videos that I'm going to create or have created, so that way you guys can go through and learn the content. You'll probably spend a lot of time with these videos, as well as in the MyMathLab stuff, which I'm going to show you in a few moments. If you need to get a hold of me, the best way to do so is via email. If you do call me, be clear that I'm only on campus a few days this semester. And so unfortunately, I might not be able to get back to you as soon as if you email me. I do try to check my email vigilantly, and I try to get back to you within 24 hours at the latest. A lot of times I'll get back to you within the hour if it's a decent hour. A good place to go to kind of figure out what's going to go on for a particular week is the announcements. Every Sunday, I try to post what's going to be going on for each week. Assignments are going to be due by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. So that gives you from Sunday to Saturday to be able to work through the material for the course. What you would do is you would just click on the announcements tab, and I try to have a little bit of information, not just about the course, but other things that are going on campus to try to keep you engaged with different events that are going on. So for instance, if the math club is having an event, if the engineering club is having an event, I'll try to post in the announcements. Please be cognizant that within the announcements, I try to go through and just give you everything that you'll need for each week. All right. It's probably best to start by clicking on the announcements tab before you go on to anything else. The very first time that you log into the course, after you've checked the course information and announcements, you probably want to go to the Start Here tab. The Start Here tab is essentially going to help you to navigate through the course and give you a few basic assignments that are going to be necessary as sort of the overview of the class. Some items that are contained within the Start Here: welcome message, learning the content for Math 204, the syllabus for the class, a little bit about the instructor. Also, there's two assignments under here: a PDF file assignment which is going to ask you to be able to not only answer some questions for Calculus 1, but also to make sure that you can create a PDF file. All the examinations are going to be submitted by students as a PDF file only. Also, there's a syllabus quiz. This is going to be questions for which the content of the syllabus to make sure that you've read the syllabus and that you understand how to navigate the syllabus and the expectations of the course. I will go through some of the more important topics in the syllabus a little bit later within this video. Some of the other links that are pretty self-explanatory: email. So if you want to email not just me, but also your peers within the class, if you want to get a study group together, this is a place where you could reach out to other folks within the class. Exam reviews and exam reflections. This is where you're going to go to prepare for examinations. So if you want to know what an examination looks like, you would click on the review. I also worked through all of the problems, so that way you can see if you've done the problem correctly, or if you need a little bit of help with it, this is where you can go to kind of check your answer. And if you made a calculus mistake or a trigonometry mistake or something of that nature, you can click right here to be able to see what the steps were to be able to complete that problem. After each examination, there's a reflection. It basically just asks how you prepared for the examination, if you felt that you did well, if you felt that maybe you needed to spend some more time in certain areas, what you're going to do next time if you did not necessarily do too well on the examination. All right, so it's important for us to kind of benchmark ourselves and to reflect as we progress throughout the semester, so that way we're meeting our goals. If you click on the examinations link, I also have some materials that are germane to each of the examinations themselves. So if you want to know what's on examination 1, you could go look at the exam review as well as the list of topics. If you want to know the instructions, you could certainly look at where it says exam 1 instructions. So that way you're not necessarily worried about taking the examination itself and accessing it. You're more focused on the content and being prepared with that sort of stuff. Okay, so you could just scroll down the list and you could see that every examination is posted for the semester. Okay, so if you want to know what's on the final exam, you can scroll all the way down and you can see what's going to be on the final examination. All right, so just so that way you guys can be prepared for the examination itself when it comes time. Some other links: grades. That's where all the grades for the course are going to be housed. As I grade items, I'll post the grades within this link. I'm going to come back to MATLAB and MyMathLab. Those are going to be two longer sorts of segments of this video. So I want to make sure I go through the less lengthy portions first. If you need some assistance, you can click on the Learning Center link. And what this will do is it'll take you to a matrix where you can go to get some assistance through the course. All right, so you can scroll down to where we have Math 204, and you can see when people are available to assist you. Right? You can also email the Learning Center if you want to know more information at learningcenter@hartford.edu, or you can call them at this number, 413-412-2588. If you can't make it to the Learning Center because it is a physical location on campus in Library 115, then what you probably want to do is you want to use this animal called NetTutor. NetTutor is an online service to where students can get assistance that it might not necessarily be time for you to go to campus, or maybe you only have a half hour in between classes and you don't want to walk to the Learning Center because you're in a certain building that's a far walk. So you can use NetTutor to be able to get assistance there. Be mindful that the Learning Center and NetTutor are not a substitute for you watching videos, for you learning things. So what's probably going to happen is if you come to a learning assistant or if you go to a session, they're going to ask you what your notes look like. They're going to ask you where specifically you've gotten stuck with the problem. So be mindful that you do have to put in some effort, that they're not just going to teach you if you go to Learning Center or if you use NetTutor. If you want some information about the honors program, you can click on this link. I'm the director of the honors program, so I'm always looking for talented students that are interested in the honors program. There's going to be assignments and examinations where you have to create PDF files. Here's a link as to how to create a PDF file. There's two different ways, one of which is by using something called CamScan on your phone. Another way is to just take pictures, email them to yourselves, attach them in a Word document, and then save the Word document as a PDF file. A little bit more laborious than the first method. CamScan creates really small files, which is probably going to be more beneficial to you. However, if you don't want to put anything on your phone like CamScan, then certainly you could just take pictures, upload them to yourself, and do it the second way. Regardless, you do have to make sure that when you do submit examinations, they are only submitted as PDF files. The last two links here, these are more information about the college policies. And then also, if for some reason we have unplanned closures, to check Blackboard announcements. That necessarily won't affect our class because it's an online class asynchronously. But if you do have online, or if you have courses that meet face-to-face or hybrid, then this link would be important to you. Going back to two of the links within Blackboard that we didn't cover, you're going to be spending a lot of time in MyMathLab. And for those of you that have never seen MyMathLab, I'd like to navigate that with you just to see what it looks like. So I'm going to click on this. And I'm going to enter the student preview. And I'll go back again to MyMathLab. And when you click on that link, this should be the screen that you see. You're going to click on where it's this first link, MyLab Math All Assignments. The first thing it's going to ask you to do is probably register for the class. And there's a number of ways to which you can register. Now, I've already done this because as a sample, but what'll come up is it'll come up with a screen that says you can either purchase an access code. If you scroll to the very bottom, and again, on this screen, you can't see it, but there will be a link that should say get access for 14 days for free. All right. If you already have a MyMathLab account, it may not show up. All right. So just letting you know that if it's your first time using MyMathLab, it might show up, it might not show up. I'd recommend using the 14 free days just in case you want to get out of the class and it's not necessarily your style for learning. At least you haven't wasted the money, right? But there are other ways to be able to register for MyMathLab. So for instance, you could pay for the code. The codes come in either 18-week or 24-month, depending on if Calculus 2 is your last class or if you have to go further in math, you want to judge if you're going to purchase the longer term code or the shorter term. I'm going to go to my courses. And all of the assignments and quizzes for the semester are posted, so you can work as far ahead as you would like. Now, when you're ready to do the assignment, what you're going to do is you're going to click on that assignment. And just click on question 1, good place to start. And some of the questions are multiple choice, some are free response. Okay, so the first question that we have here, okay, write this as a difference of two integrals. All right. So this is where you guys would watch your videos if you don't know how to do this, okay? And also you could use other resources, which I'll show in a moment, okay? Now, if I know what the correct answer is, and hopefully since I teach the course, I know what the correct answer is, I'm going to select the correct answer, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the answer, all right? If I'm correct, it's going to tell me I'm correct. If I'm not correct, then it's going to come up with this, but it should give you another chance, okay? So usually you get 2 or 3 chances. All right, so I purposefully got it incorrect just so that way you can see what would happen if you got it wrong. For those of you that know what's going on with this, you can't factor a term with an x in front of an integral. All right, the correct answer should be this animal right here. All right, and it tells me I did nice work, even though I just clicked a few buttons, regardless. Then I'm going to click on next question. Now this is a little bit longer question, okay? And I might need some assistance with this. Now, certainly I could sketch a graph. That's not an issue, okay? So if I were to go through and maybe try to sketch this graph, I might pick this one, all right? And it tells me excellent. And I might already know what delta x is, okay? And again, you go through the videos, okay? And you're just gonna work through this, okay? For the grid points, that'll be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and the only reason I know this is because I teach the class, which is the left endpoint, etc. Okay, so you guys get the idea that you can keep working through this. Okay, if you get something wrong, you can go back and try to go, prepare for it and get it correct. Okay, now be cognizant that there are going to be problems where you run into that you might not know. Okay, so I'm going to skip through this one, right, and go to a question and just skip it a little bit. And maybe I don't know how to write a Riemann sum as an integral. Okay, so maybe I just forgot that from Calculus 1. So what I could do is in this bottom left corner, I could click on Help Me Solve This, or I could click on View an Example. Right? Both of those are going to be viable options for you to receive assistance with the problem If you went through the videos and that didn't help you, then this is another way to get assistance, right? Now, view an example. What it'll do is it'll literally just walk through an example with you. Okay. And I want you to notice that the same question stays up there. Okay. So it's going to bring up a similar type of problem, but not that problem. Now, if you click on help me solve this, so let me do that. I want you to notice that it marks your problem wrong. And once you click on exit, it's going to generate a new problem. Okay. So I'm going to go through and it doesn't matter. I'm just going to skip out of this. All right. Now notice there's a red X here. All right. But let's say after I do that, I understand how to work through the problem. Okay. Which I'm going to do. All right. And it tells me excellent. And notice that the red X gets replaced with a check mark. For assignments, you can work through the problems as many times as you choose. There's an unlimited number of attempts. Even if you get the question right and you want to do additional problems, you can keep working through them. So with assignment problems, as many of those as you want. Okay. One last thing about the assignments I'd recommend, after maybe every 3 or 4 or 5 problems, click on save. If your computer goes out and you've worked through maybe 15 or 20 problems in a section and you forget to click save, you might lose all that work. And that might upset you. Or if you really like math, it might make you happy because it gives you an excuse to do it some more. Right? Notice that before you can attempt any of the quizzes, you have to get a 50% in all of the items that are prerequisites to that quiz. All right. So for instance, if I go back, to be able to do quiz number 1, I have to get a 50% on this assignment, and this assignment at minimum. I would anticipate that students to be prepared for the quizzes to maybe get at least as close to 100 as possible. All right. And again, since you can do the problems as many times as you want, and you can get to help me solve this, there's really not too much excuse for students other than just having time constraints to not really get a pretty high grade on all the assignment problems. For the quizzes, you get 3 attempts at the entire quiz. So be judicious as to how you approach the quizzes, especially because you only get those 3 attempts. I do only count the best 8 out of 11 quizzes. All right, so there's a little bit of margin of error for the quizzes, but do be mindful that over a semester, especially with time constraints, 8 quizzes, 8 quizzes out of 11, that's really not a lot of margin of error for you. Okay, so there's some, but not a lot. So that's all the stuff in MyMathLab. The other thing I wanted to show you all was MATLAB. Now, MATLAB is different than MyMathLab. Okay, MATLAB is a programming language, and it contains a computer algebra system. And it's going to help you to be able to do some of the high-level sorts of taxing computations and integrals, derivatives, and series, differential equations that we're going to look at throughout the course. MATLAB is not a substitute for you knowing how to work through problems. However, it is a tool that's used in almost every business and industry. It's a highly coveted skill. Students that understand how to use MATLAB are more likely to get internships. They're more likely to get jobs with their associate's degrees. It's one of those skills that you can't go wrong in knowing, especially for students that are transferring to a university, which might require you to know a little bit about MATLAB. This is going to be a useful skill. For those of you that are computer science majors, it just makes sense to know how computer programming and mathematics go hand in hand and vice versa. So to use MATLAB, if it's your first time you've ever used it, what you're going to do is just click on this link. MATLAB is free to all Harvard Community College students. And then if you need to, you can click on the link again. And what it'll do is it'll take you to the Harvard Community College landing page in MATLAB. You're going to sign in to get started. And you can either use the online version or you can download it onto your computer. The online version works great. Downloading onto your computer works great. They both work really well. I'm just going to click on the online version and just illustrate what it looks like really quickly for those of you that have never seen MATLAB before. There are videos that are going to accompany this. So for those of you that have never used MATLAB before, don't worry too much about it. right? So just an example as to what MATLAB can do, all right? Let's say for some reason I have a function and I define that function as x raised to the sine of x, right? And let's say I want to find the second derivative of that, okay? So I could say answer is going to be equal to diff of f comma x comma 2. And again, I don't suspect people know this, okay, off the top of their heads. But throughout the course, we're going to learn this sort of coding, and I'm just illustrating what MATLAB can do and why you might want to consider getting better at it. All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and run this. And what it'll do is it'll spit out what that second derivative is. Pretty simple, right? If we did that by hand, it would only take us a few seconds to do that. Actually, it would take us several minutes to be able to do that. This is why MATLAB's useful, is because we can do really taxing computations in a matter of seconds by using this computer algebra system, okay? As we go through the course, we're going to see that MATLAB can be used to solve integrals, derivatives, series problems, differential equations, all right? And there's plenty of things that MATLAB can do that we're not going to touch in this course. So again, there will be videos for you to watch, so that way you can go through and learn the syntax and all those different sorts of aspects. So that should be everything that's going to be within Blackboard, except for the syllabus, which I'm going to go through a little bit later after we go through and talk about the grading scale, etc. All right. But do be familiar with all the items in Blackboard. There's a lot in here because it's an online asynchronous course. Going back to the PowerPoint. Some of the expectations of the course. In other words, how do you earn your grade throughout the class? So as we discussed, there's going to be MyMathLab assignments and MyMathLab quizzes. Those are roughly worth 300 points, 270 points total to be exact, okay? That's almost worth 3 examinations in the class. So by you doing well on the assignments and the quizzes, what that's going to do is that's going to help you to bolster your grades. Even if you get a B or a C or even lower on the examination, that can kind of help you offset some exam grades. All right, so I always encourage students to get all their points on both the exams and the quiz, or the assignments and quizzes. There are going to be 3 midterm exams. All right, so basically unit examinations at worth 300 points. There's one comprehensive final exam worth 150 points. And then there's 80 points worth of assignments, such as the intro quiz, PDF assignment, exam reflections, and the MATLAB assignments that we just looked at. Total number of points is 800. And then the grading scale, 90% of 800, which is 720 points or more, would be an A. 640 points or 80% of 800 would be a B, etc. Right? The grading scale is listed in the syllabus. I will illustrate that in a few moments once we get to that point. We already discussed MyMathLab. Okay, MyMathLab is where you're going to do all of your home assignments, where you're going to take your quizzes. Make sure you set up the MyMathLab account as soon as possible if you have not. The link to it's in Blackboard on the left-hand side. You're going to do all your assignments and quizzes, and it has all the resources that are necessary to be able to be successful in the course, minus the instructor videos, which I'm going to illustrate once we go back and look at the syllabus. Examinations are going to be in a paper pencil format. So what you're going to do is you're going to log in to take the examination. You're going to be expected to show all work for the problems, just like you would for any other paper and pencil examination. It will be proctored by HonorLock. HonorLock's going to ensure that there's no other people in the room. HonorLock's going to ensure that you're not using a cell phone or a computer algebra system to be able to help you. And HonorLock's going to ensure that you're not using any additional notes other than the ones that I'm going to allow you to use for the examination. Okay, so it's basically like if a teacher was in the room, just making sure that the integrity of the examination is upheld. You will be expected to submit the exam as a PDF file. So once you're done, you're going to have 10 minutes to upload the examination, either through using the CamScan app, or if you want to take pictures and upload it that way. Again, I would recommend just downloading CamScan, taking the pictures that way. All right, it makes it a little bit easier than just trying to create a PDF file that other way. We already discussed MATLAB. Okay, MATLAB is going to be useful for you to be able to check some of your answers, all that sort of stuff. Okay, It's free, and I don't expect folks to know anything about MATLAB, although some students may know a little bit about MATLAB, right? There will be help files that are going to be posted in Blackboard under the instructor video link. Before I talk a little bit about some of the success tips in the course, I'm going to go back to Blackboard and just outline the syllabus with you. The syllabus can be found under the Start Here link. And it's going to be right here where it says Math 204 syllabus. If this is a different semester, then it's going to say something different like summer, fall, or winter, etc. All right, so you just click on that. And just really quickly going through the most important parts of the syllabus. All the information for the instructors at the top, the student hours, and also the email. Okay, student hours might change with semester. Okay. Also, a link to the instructional videos. It's the same one that's posted, and I'll show you where to go to see that in Blackboard in a few moments. Okay. The grading scale for the class is listed. So if you want to know what you need to earn A, B, C, this is all the different things that you're going to need to be able to be successful in the course. And this is the scale with which I can measure success. Examination dates, as well as other details, are listed under this examination section of the syllabus. Okay. Again, reiterating, no cellular phones during the examination, no computer algebra systems, there's no retakes for examinations, and no extensions on examination will be granted unless going through the instructor first. You may not have another person in the room either. So HonorLock's going to help to be able to ensure that these standards are upheld. I will do my very best to have the examination back to you as soon as possible. Usually it takes me 2 good days to grade the examinations for the course. So be cognizant that I do have a number of examinations to grade. And so immediately after you take the examination, I might not get it back until everybody's submitted them. Where I discussed the MyMathLab assignments, each of those are going to be due on Saturday evening at 11:59 p.m. Make sure that you guys do plan ahead and make sure you allocate enough time for yourself to be successful with the MyMathLab assignments. MyMathLab quizzes, again, 3 attempts per quiz, not per question on the quiz, but 3 attempts per quiz. Problems, again, are due by 11:59 p.m. on Saturdays. Quizzes are automatically graded by MyMathLab, and I count the best 8, and I believe there's 11 quizzes for the course, although that might change as the semester goes on. But that does give you a little bit of leeway if you don't do too well on a quiz or 2. Make sure you do those other assignments that are listed in Blackboard. So for instance, we have the updates, introductory quizzes, the PDF file. Okay, those sorts of things. They're under the Start Here. Where I discussed MATLAB assignments a few times, just go to the portal. You can also watch the videos. If you need some assistance with MATLAB, you can watch the videos to be able to get some help. If you're stuck with a particular command, you can certainly email me and try to set up an appointment. We can work through it that way. Please try to be respectful of everybody throughout the course, including the instructor. If you're not necessarily respectful, or if you say derogatory things, either via email or message or something like that, I do have the authority to report you and put a concerning student report on there. They might suspend access to your account. So please be cognizant of what you say via email, etc. Please contact me only using a Hartford email. Sometimes Gmails, Yahoo mails, etc. Those types of things, they'll go to my junk folder. Do not give extra credit for the course. However, at the end of the class, based on your effort, interest, engagement, I'll usually round up the grade by 1.5% at the end. Just some other things with the course. Make sure you budget enough time to be successful, okay? Calculus 2 is a traditionally rigorous class, all right? So you'll probably be spending anywhere from 8 to 12 hours, maybe more, okay? But you should expect to do spend a lot of time for the class, because A, you're not attending face-to-face classes, and B, you'll have to navigate Blackboard and also learn the content of the class. I always recommend to students that if you're not necessarily a really strong math student, or if you traditionally struggle with deadlines, keeping up with things on your own, then I'd recommend that perhaps you take a face-to-face section where there can be an instructor to kind of guide you and make sure that you're keeping on top of things. And that's not to say that I won't post things, but unfortunately, I can't be a live person in an asynchronous class. So be cognizant of those sorts of things before you fully engage with the class. These are general statements. Just make sure that you understand what Harvard's policy is on all the following. That's all under the college policies and resources link. Finally, important dates listed here. These are all listed under the course information link. And then finally, if you want to know what's going to be due each week, last page of the syllabus outlines all of this, including examination dates, MATLAB dates, each of the different assessments that you're going to be taking throughout the course. All right. I'll also post those on the Blackboard page under the announcements tab as well. So if you don't want to look every single time at the syllabus, you can just go to the announcements tab for each week and I'll post it there. One last link that's going to be important for you is under the course information link. And this is where all the lecture videos are housed. So what you're going to do is just copy and paste this link into your browser. And this is going to take you to my Calculus 2 YouTube page, where this is actually the Calculus 1 page, excuse me. So let me bring up the Calculus 2 page. And so here are the links to the videos for the course. What I do is I work through concepts, generate examples that are conducive to you being able to learn the material and do the MyMathLab sorts of content. All right. So generally what I'll do is I'll start off with some definitions. And then after those definitions, I'll work some example problems that are related to each of those. A recommendation to be successful in the course. Start by watching the videos from the section. Okay. So for instance, 5.1 and 5.2, watch all 6 of these videos, take notes. Okay. Have a notebook just like you would with any other course. And then as you're going through, make notes about things that are maybe not necessarily completely understood as you're going through the first time. Rewatch the videos, okay? One of the beautiful things about the videos is you can watch them as many times as necessary to be able to really solidify your understanding of that topic. After you feel like you've gone through and you understand all the information, the next thing you probably want to do is to work the assessment problems that are in MyMathLab or the assignment problems. After you feel comfortable with that, work the quiz problems. So these are going to be posted. All right, make sure you do watch all these videos as they are basically like your class time, which you're going to be engaged in. So just a few last comments as to how to be successful in Calculus 2, right? Math is a skill, just like any other skill, like playing a sport, playing an instrument, making a creative sort of work, all right? People get good at skills by doing those skills repetitively. Not too many people are really good at getting good at math by watching math. All right, you have to engage in it. So just keep practicing at it, keep working at it. Stick to a schedule, budget out those 12 hours for the week. You might not use all 12 of those hours, but make sure that you have them. All right, to be able to watch the videos, to be able to do the coursework, to be able to be successful. Ask questions, use a learning center. Make sure that you email your instructor, those sorts of things. And then also, as we stated before, make sure that you use the videos, okay? Multimedia library, all the different resources that are available to you. If you need help, a recommendation would be to first contact the instructor. You could do so by email. If you need to set up a Zoom appointment, we can certainly do that. Certainly, your peers are a good use for you to be able to be successful with the course. So form a study group. You can use the email link in Blackboard to be able to ask folks to form a study group together, and certainly use the Learning Center. Okay, Learning Center is full of students that have taken Calculus 2 recently. They know what it takes to be successful. They also have professional tutors as well. They have literature in there. They have extra textbooks, that sort of stuff, to be able to help you to be successful within your course. Some final thoughts. Use your time wisely. There's only so many hours in a week. While you're sitting at a computer, it's easy to watch YouTube. It's easy to get distracted, okay? So make sure that you're using those 8 to 12 hours per week efficiently. And it's not just when you say 8 to 12 hours, it's really 3 hours working on calculus and 5 hours watching YouTube videos. It is calculus. It's not always easy. If it were easy, everybody would be taking it. So if you do start to struggle, keep in mind that it's par for the course. Now, if you're really struggling, make sure you get some help as soon as possible. Don't wait until the last minute to work your assignments, if at all possible. I understand folks are busy. However, power does go out, okay? Things come up. And so unfortunately, you might not be able to complete everything if you wait until 6 o'clock on Saturday to be able to squeeze in everything within the course, all right? Or at least everything that's due that week. And then finally, think of ways to apply the course to your field of study, right? Now in Calculus 2, most students are computer science, engineering, math, physics, sorts of majors that lend themselves to the content inherently. However, think about how you would apply that to your major and think about when you would use that as a professional. So that way you can kind of keep this long-term sort of ideology as to why you're actually learning Calculus 2 materials. So that's everything with respect to being able to navigate the course and what's expected of you for the course. I'm looking forward to working with you all this semester. Make sure that you guys keep focused. If you need some assistance, reach out to me via email, use the Learning Center, and make sure you budget your time well. Take care.